There is a quiet hum of dissatisfaction that runs beneath the surface of modern life. It's a feeling of being constantly restless, a sense that no matter what you achieve, something is still missing. You get the promotion, you find the partner, you buy the thing you've wanted for months, and for a moment there is a flash of satisfaction. But then, inevitably, the hum returns. It is the quiet, persistent ache of always wanting something more, something next. This feeling is powered by a fundamental engine inside all of us: desire. We are born wanting, and from a young age we are taught to harness this wanting, to aim it at goals society deems worthy. We are given a kite, a beautiful, promising kite that represents success or love or recognition. We are told that our purpose is to get this kite flying high in the sky, and that once we do, we will finally find lasting happiness and peace. So you take the string. You run into the windy field of life and you try to get your kite to fly. You feel the tug of the string in your hand, a direct connection to your ambition. You watch it climb and your heart soars with it, but you also feel the tension. Your hand clenches the string tightly, afraid to let it go. Your neck is craned towards the sky, so focused on the kite that you can't see the world around you. This is the paradox. The desire, the kite, seems to promise freedom and exhilaration, but the experience of holding on is one of constant, low-level anxiety. What if the wind dies? What if the string snaps? What if someone else's kite flies higher? Your attention is completely consumed by this object in the sky, and the simple joy of being in the field is lost. You are not playing with the kite. In a very real way, the kite is playing with you. We live in a world that is a hurricane of manufactured desire. Every advertisement, every social media feed, every billboard is a gust of wind telling you that your kite is not big enough, not shiny enough, not high enough. It creates a perpetual feeling of inadequacy, a belief that your current reality is flawed and must be escaped by acquiring the next thing. We are taught that this constant striving is a virtue, that it is the engine of progress. And so the hum of dissatisfaction grows louder. The brief moments of pleasure from a new achievement are quickly replaced by the emptiness of the next desire. It's like drinking salt water to quench a thirst. The temporary relief only makes the underlying thirst more intense. This cycle of wanting, getting, and wanting again is the source of a deep, often unacknowledged misery in our lives. It is a treadmill that promises a beautiful destination, but is designed to keep you running in place forever. We feel this viscerally. It is the anxiety of seeing a friend's vacation photos and feeling your own life is lacking. It is the stress of chasing a career goal that leaves you no time for rest or connection. It's the emptiness you feel in a closet full of clothes. We have become operators of our own little engines of suffering, constantly feeding them with new desires, wondering why we never feel truly at peace. This creates the central tension of our existence. We are told that desire will lead us to happiness, yet our direct experience whispers that it is the very source of our unhappiness. We are pulling on a string that promises to lift us up, but we feel it is actually tethering us down, keeping us in a state of constant, anxious striving, unable to rest and be present in the only moment we ever truly have, right now. So the question that sits at the heart of the human condition emerges. It is not, how can I get everything I want? But rather, why doesn't getting what I want make me happy? This is a much deeper, more courageous question. It is the beginning of a journey to look not at the kite, but at the string, and more importantly, at the hand that is holding it. It is the first step toward a different kind of freedom. Acknowledging this paradox is to see the matrix of modern life. You see that the game is rigged, not by some sinister force, but by the very nature of desire itself. The promise is always in the future, never in the present. Happiness is always one more acquisition away. To see this is to feel the profound exhaustion of the chase and to begin to wonder if there is another way to live. Faced with this exhaustion, we fall into the most common trap. We believe the problem is not the act of desiring itself, but the object of our desire. We think, I'm unhappy because I am chasing the wrong thing. We assume that if we just get a bigger, better, more impressive kite, then we will finally be satisfied. We trade our desire for a modest career for a desire for a spectacular one. We trade a desire for a simple partnership for a desire for a perfect one. This is the trap of upgrading your misery. You work 60 hours a week to buy the luxury car, only to find yourself anxious about scratching it and burdened by its payments. You achieve a level of fame, only to become a prisoner of public opinion. The new, bigger kite just creates a stronger pull. It requires more of your energy, more of your attention, and creates a deeper anxiety about losing it. The fundamental problem of being anxiously tethered has not been solved. It has been magnified. Another part of the trap is to try to control the wind. We try to manipulate our environment to give our kite the perfect conditions to fly. We endlessly scheme and strategize to eliminate uncertainty and risk from our lives. We try to control what others think of us. We try to build a life where the wind will always blow in our favor. This is a battle against reality itself, and it is a battle we are guaranteed to lose. And what happens when the wind inevitably dies? When you lose the job, when the relationship ends, when your health fails? Because you have identified so completely with your kite, you feel that you have crashed. The loss of the object of your desire feels like a loss of self. This is the great danger of attaching your identity to something so impermanent. Your sense of worth rises and falls with the unpredictable winds of fortune. The next layer of the trap is to collect more kites. We see others with many kites in the sky, and we believe that is the secret. So we frantically try to launch a kite for career, another for love, another for fitness, another for social status, another for intellectual growth. We end up running frantically across the field, trying to manage a dozen different strings at once. The result is not a feeling of abundance, but one of being completely overwhelmed. The strings become a tangled mess. A success with one kite, your career, pulls on the string of another, causing it to fall, your family life. You are stretched thin, your energy divided, your mind fractured. You are so busy managing your desires that you have no time to simply live. This is the miserable state of the successful, modern person, tangled in the strings of their own ambitions. This flawed solution fails because it is based on a lie. The lie is that the source of happiness is out there, in the object of desire, in the kite. As long as we believe this lie, we will be trapped in the cycle of chasing, acquiring, and chasing again. We will forever be looking up at the sky, waiting for an external object to give us an internal feeling of peace, without realizing that the very act of looking and waiting is what prevents that peace from arising. Think about the endless scrolling on your phone. Each post is a little kite, a little flicker of desire. I want that life. I want that body. I want that experience. You are launching and letting go of 1,000 tiny, unsatisfying kites a day. This is a training ground for dissatisfaction. It perfects the mental habit of wanting what you don't have, ensuring that you can never be content with what you do have. The trap convinces us that the tension we feel is a sign we need to pull harder, run faster. But this tension is actually a message. It is your soul's way of telling you that you are pulling in the wrong direction. The friction, the anxiety, the exhaustion, these are not signs of failure. They are symptoms of a flawed strategy for living. They are a merciful alarm bell, begging you to stop and reevaluate the entire game you are playing. Eventually, this path leads to a state of profound burnout. You collapse in the field, tangled in your strings, the beautiful kites now seeming like tormentors. You have done everything you were supposed to do. You chased with all your might, and you are left empty, exhausted, and miserable. You see the absurdity of it all. You spent your whole life trying to get these things into the air, only to become their prisoner. This moment of collapse is not an end. It is a beginning. It is the fertile ground of rock bottom, where the old way of living is no longer possible. It is only when we are this exhausted, this disillusioned with the chase, that we are finally willing to listen to a radically different kind of wisdom. A wisdom that doesn't offer a better kite, but that questions why we are holding the string in the first place. This is where the teachings of a man who sat under a tree 2,500 years ago become incredibly relevant. Siddhartha Gautama, who would become known as the Buddha or the Awakened One, was a prince who had every kite you could imagine. He had wealth, status, and pleasure. He had everything we are taught to desire, and he found it all to be profoundly unsatisfying. His great insight was born from this disillusionment. He left the palace, he left the kites behind, and he began a search for the true cause of suffering and the path to its end. He didn't look for a new god or a new metaphysical theory. He looked directly at his own mind. He watched the process of desire itself, and what he discovered changed the course of human history. The Buddha's discovery was a radical pivot in human thought. He realized that suffering is not a random event or a punishment. It is a chain reaction, a process with a clear cause and a clear solution. And the root cause is not that we don't get what we want. The root cause is the wanting itself. The craving, the grasping, the desperate, tight-fisted clinging to things that are, by their very nature, impermanent. And so, as you lie on the ground, tangled in your own desires, the wisdom of the Buddha appears. It doesn't offer you a knife to cut the strings. It doesn't offer you a new kite. It simply points to your own hands, white-knuckled and clenched, and it whispers a revolutionary possibility. What if you just let go? This brings us to the central thesis, the profound truth that can set you free. True peace comes not from getting what you want, but from freeing yourself from the need to get it. It is the radical act of changing your relationship with desire itself. It is the shift from being a desperate kite flyer, pulled around by the wind, to becoming the calm observer of the sky. This doesn't mean you must live a life of bleak asceticism, devoid of all pleasant things. That is a common misunderstanding. The Buddha taught the middle way. It is not about getting rid of the kites. It is about getting rid of the tight grip on the strings. You can still appreciate the beauty of a kite flying in the sky. You can enjoy its flight, but you don't attach your entire sense of self-worth and happiness to it. Let's call this new way of being the sky watcher. The kite flyer is a slave to their desires, constantly pulled and stressed. The sky watcher, on the other hand, sits peacefully in the field. They can see all the kites of ambition, love, and success. They can see their beauty and their movement, but they are not being pulled by any of them. Their peace comes from their own groundedness, not from the behavior of the kites. How does one become a sky watcher? The first step is to practice awareness. You simply start to notice the feeling of wanting when it arises in your mind. Don't judge it, don't act on it, don't push it away. Just observe it. Ah, you can say to yourself, there is the pull of the string. There is the feeling of craving. This simple act of noticing creates a space between you and the desire. In that space, you find your freedom. When you are not automatically reacting to the pull, you have a choice. You can choose to tighten your grip and get pulled into the old drama, or you can choose to consciously relax your hand and stay grounded. This space is your workshop for liberation. At first, it might be a tiny gap, but with practice, it can become a vast, peaceful expanse. The second step is to deeply understand impermanence. Everything changes. The beautiful kite will eventually tear. The strong wind will eventually die down. The thrill of success will fade. This is not a pessimistic view, it is a realistic one. The suffering comes not from the fact that things change, but from our desperate attempt to hold on to them as if they were permanent. When you truly accept impermanence, your grip naturally loosens. Why would you clutch desperately to a cloud? Why would you build your house on the bank of a river that is constantly shifting? You learn to hold things lightly. You enjoy them while they are here, and you let them go gracefully when they depart. This is not apathy. It is a profound and wise love for the transient beauty of life. Let's apply this. Think of a desire you have right now, a desire for a new job. The kite flyer thinks, I will only be happy when I get that job. Their entire well-being is tied to that future outcome. The sky watcher thinks, I can work towards that job, I can put in the effort. But my peace and happiness right now do not depend on getting it. They untie their well-being from the outcome. This leads to a surprising result. When you are not desperate for a particular outcome, you often perform better. The nervous, grasping energy of the kite flyer makes them clumsy. The calm, focused energy of the sky watcher allows them to act with more clarity, wisdom, and skill. You are more likely to get the job or fly the kite well when your happiness doesn't depend on it. The Buddha identified 3 root poisons that keep us grabbing the strings. The first is greed, the constant wanting more. The second is aversion, the wanting to get away from things we don't like. The third is ignorance, the fundamental blindness that makes us believe the kites are the source of happiness. Becoming a skywatcher is the antidote to all 3. You simply watch them arise and pass away like any other cloud. Consider aversion. You get stuck in traffic. The kite flyer pulls on the string of aversion. I hate this shouldn't be happening. They create immense stress for themselves over a situation they cannot control. The skywatcher observes the situation. Here I am in traffic. They notice the feeling of frustration arise, but they don't have to become it. They can choose to breathe, to listen to music, to simply be, turning a moment of suffering into a moment of practice. The practice of letting go is not a one-time event. It is a continuous moment-by-moment training. You will grab the string again. You will get lost in desire 1,000 times. The practice is to notice and to gently, without judging yourself, loosen your grip again. Every time you do this, you strengthen your muscle of non-attachment. You are rewiring your brain for peace instead of for suffering. This liberation is not something that happens in a monastery. It happens in your daily life. It happens when you are praised at work and you feel the pleasure without clinging to it, knowing it will pass. It happens when you are criticized and you feel the sting without letting it define you, knowing it too will pass. You become a stable center in the midst of the ever-changing weather of life. This is true freedom. It is not the freedom to have whatever you want. It is the freedom from having to have what you want. It is the freedom of your own heart and mind from the tyranny of craving. This is an internal state of liberty that no one can ever take from you. It is a peace that is not dependent on external conditions and is therefore unshakable. When you stop being a kite flyer, you can finally see the field. You notice the texture of the grass, the warmth of the sun, the beauty of the other people around you. When your attention is no longer consumed by your own wanting, the richness of the present moment reveals itself to you. It was always here, waiting for you to simply look down from the sky and see it. Let's deepen this understanding. The string of desire is made of 2 strands. The first is the desire for something to happen. I want to be loved. The second is the desire for something not to happen. I don't want to be lonely. The Buddha's teaching addresses both. By loosening your grip, you find a peace that is not dependent on either getting the love or avoiding the loneliness. You find a sufficiency within yourself. This is not a philosophy of weakness or passivity. It takes immense strength and courage to not be swept away by the winds of desire that buffet our world. It is the warrior's path of taming the mind. It is an active, engaged practice of choosing peace over drama, moment by moment. It is the quiet, powerful work of reclaiming your own inner territory. Think of your relationship with money. The kite flyer is always chasing the next income bracket, believing happiness is a number in a bank account. They are a slave to the kite of wealth. The skywatcher can be skillful with money, can earn it and use it wisely, but their inner peace is not for sale. They know that their true wealth is the unshakable contentment that cannot be bought or sold. What about love and relationships? The kite flyer clings to their partner, their happiness dependent on the other person's attention and approval. This creates fear and jealousy. The skywatcher loves freely, without grasping. They can fully enjoy the connection, but they know that the other person is not a possession. This non-attached love is actually purer and more profound, as it allows both people to be free. The practice is to see the kite, the string, and the hand as 3 separate things. The kite is the object, the job, the person, the car. The string is the feeling of desire itself, the wanting, the craving. The hand is your awareness, your capacity to choose. The common mistake is to think these 3 are all one thing. By separating them in your mind, you can learn to manage your relationship with them. True compassion begins when you stop being tangled in your own strings. When you are not constantly obsessed with your own kites, you have the emotional and mental bandwidth to notice the struggles of others. You can see that they too are being pulled around by their own desires. Your journey to free yourself allows you to develop a genuine wish for all beings to be free from their suffering. This understanding doesn't eliminate pain, but it eliminates suffering. The Buddha made a crucial distinction. Pain is the unavoidable reality of life, sickness, loss, old age. It is the wind and the rain. Suffering is the mental anguish we add on top of the pain by resisting it, by craving for things to be different than they are. Suffering is optional. It is the self-inflicted wound of a clenched fist. The more you practice being a sky watcher, the more you will notice the subtle beauty of the ordinary. A cup of tea, a conversation with a friend, the feeling of the sun on your skin. These simple, present-moment experiences become incredibly rich and fulfilling when your mind is not constantly chasing something else. You discover that the happiness you were seeking in the sky was always right here, on the ground. This path requires patience. You have spent a lifetime training to be a kite flyer. You cannot expect to become a master skywatcher overnight. Be gentle with yourself. Celebrate the small victories. The moment you notice a desire without acting on it, the moment you choose to loosen your grip just a little. These small moments are the seeds of a profound transformation. The final illusion to see through is the idea that you are the one desiring. The Buddhist perspective suggests that desires are just impersonal events that arise in consciousness, like weather patterns. They are not the core of who you are. By identifying with them, you give them power over you. By seeing them as passing clouds, you reclaim your identity as the sky in which they appear, vast, open, and fundamentally peaceful. Consider the modern obsession with goals. We are told to set massive goals and to relentlessly pursue them. The Skywatcher approach offers a saner alternative. You can have an intention, a direction you want to move in, but you hold that intention lightly. You focus on the process, on the daily actions, and you release your attachment to the final outcome. The journey itself becomes the destination. This freedom is scary at first. Our desires give us a sense of identity and purpose. I am the person who wants to be a great artist. Letting go of that tight identification can feel like a loss, but what you lose is a fragile, conditional identity. What you gain is a deep, unconditional sense of being that is not dependent on your achievements or failures. This is the ultimate form of self-care. It is not about bubble baths or treating yourself to more things. It is about freeing your mind from the constant stress of craving. It is the most profound act of kindness you can offer yourself, the gift of inner peace. This is a wellness that permeates every aspect of your life because it comes from the very core of your being. The world will not stop creating wind. It will not stop producing beautiful, alluring kites. That will never change. The transformation does not happen by changing the world. It happens by changing the operator. It happens by upgrading your consciousness from the anxious, grasping kite flyer to the serene, grounded sky watcher. The power to do this resides entirely within you. The misery of desire comes from the belief that you are a self that is lacking something. The peace of non-attachment comes from the realization that you are a consciousness in which desires simply arise and pass away. This shift from "I want" to "there is wanting" is the key that unlocks the prison door. It depersonalizes the process and sets you free. Every time you check your phone for likes, every time you feel a pang of envy, every time you think "if only I had," you are tightening your grip on a string. The practice is to notice this in the moment. Just see it. And in that seeing, a new possibility is born. The possibility to not pull, to not get hooked, to let the string go slack, and to return to the peace of the present moment. This is not about becoming a passionless robot. On the contrary, when you are not blinded by craving, you can experience the world with more richness and depth. The food tastes better when you are not already thinking about the next bite. The conversation is more meaningful when you are truly listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak. You become more alive, not less. The great irony is that the relentless pursuit of self-satisfaction leads to the destruction of the self in a cycle of misery. The gentle release of the self and its cravings leads to the discovery of a profound and unshakable well-being. By giving up the desperate search for happiness, you allow it to find you. So the entire spiritual path described by the Buddha can be seen in this simple metaphor. We start as anxious kite flyers, convinced our happiness lies in the sky. Through awareness and wisdom, we learn to loosen our grip. We become sky watchers, grounded in the present moment, free from the pull of our own desires. We find the peace we were looking for was never in the kite, but in the ability to open our hand. This is a power that comes from surrender, not from control. It is the power to let go of the battle against reality, against impermanence, against your own mind. When you stop fighting, you discover a strength that is quiet, resilient, and deeply peaceful. You win the war by laying down your arms. This journey is yours to take. The field is your life. The kites are your desires. The wind is the ever-changing circumstances you face. And your hand, your awareness, holds the choice. Will you continue to be the frantic kite flyer, or will you begin the practice of becoming the peaceful sky watcher? Let us be clear. The goal is not to have no desires. As long as you are human, the kites of want will be born in your mind. The goal is to no longer be a slave to them. The goal is to see them for what they are, temporary, impersonal events in consciousness. You can let them come, and you can let them go, like watching clouds drift across the vast, peaceful sky of your own awareness. This is the end of misery. Misery is the gap between what you have and what you want. You can try to close that gap by frantically chasing after what you want, a task that is endless. Or you can close the gap from the other side. You can dissolve the wanting itself. When there is no wanting, there is no gap. There is only the fullness of what is. This is not an abstract philosophy. It is a practical skill. It is mental hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth to maintain physical health, the practice of non-attachment is how you maintain your mental and spiritual health. It is the daily act of cleaning the lens of your perception so you can see the world and yourself with clarity and peace. All the energy you once spent on chasing, worrying, and clinging is now available to you. You can invest it in your relationships, in your creativity, in your contribution to the world. You become a more effective, present, and compassionate human being, not because you are trying to be, but as a natural byproduct of your own inner freedom. So the misery that comes from desire is not a life sentence. It is a curable condition. The cure is not a pill or a purchase. It is a change of mind. It is the conscious choice to stop outsourcing your happiness to the unpredictable kites of the world, and to instead cultivate it within the unshakable ground of your own being. Don't just take my word for it. Experiment with it. The next time a strong desire arises, just for a moment, try not to grab the string. Just watch it. See what happens. See how it feels to not be pulled. This direct experience is more valuable than 1,000 philosophical lectures. You are the scientist, and your mind is the laboratory. The freedom you are looking for is closer than you think. It is not in the future. It is not in the next achievement. It is right here in this present moment. It is in the space between the stimulus of the world and your response. In that space lies your power and your peace. This is the heart of the Buddha's message. It is a message of profound empowerment. It tells you that you are not a helpless victim of your desires. You are the one who holds the power to transform your own suffering into peace. The key is in your own hand. This is not about winning or losing. The kite flyer is always worried about their kite crashing. The skywatcher understands that there is nothing to lose because they were never attached in the first place. This releases you from the exhausting game of success and failure and allows you to participate in life with a sense of playfulness and ease. Imagine a life where you are not constantly pushed and pulled by your own mind. Imagine a state of inner balance and stability that is not shaken by praise or blame, gain or loss. This is not a fantasy. This is the achievable result of this practice. This is the peace that surpasses all understanding, because it is not based on understanding things, but on letting them be. The entire world is a field of kites. The media, the economy, our own biology. They all conspire to keep us grabbing for strings. To choose the path of the Skywatcher is a radical act of rebellion. It is a declaration of independence for your own mind. It is choosing to live by a different set of rules, the rules of inner peace rather than outer acquisition. The greatest gift you can give to the world is your own liberation. A peaceful person radiates peace. A non-attached person interacts with others with generosity and freedom. By healing your own relationship with desire, you become a source of healing for those around you, not through your words, but through the simple power of your presence. So do not despair in your restlessness. Do not hate your desire. See it as a guide. It is the tension in the string that, if you study it, can lead you to the freedom of letting go. Your suffering is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is the signpost pointing you back towards the path of peace. The journey from kite flyer to Skywatcher is the journey from misery to peace. It is the journey from being a slave to your own mind to becoming its master. It is the journey from looking for happiness out there to discovering that it was in here all along. And so we arrive at the profound synthesis. For most of our lives, we are the kite flyer. We are on the field, desperately pulling on the strings of our desires, believing our happiness is attached to those fragile objects in the sky. We are stressed, anxious, and perpetually dissatisfied, caught in an endless cycle of chasing and fearing loss. This is the misery of a life run by unchecked desire. But a different path is possible. It is the path of the Skywatcher. It is the path of awareness, of wisdom, of non-attachment. It is the courageous decision to stop the chase, to look inward, and to loosen the grip. It is the path of finding your grounding in the present moment, appreciating the beauty of the kites without needing to possess them. It is a path of profound, unshakable peace. And then comes the ultimate act of liberation, the moment of complete release. You consciously, deliberately open your hand. The string slides free. The kite, your most cherished desire, the thing you thought you couldn't live without, flies away. For a second, there is a pang of fear, of loss. But then something extraordinary happens. The fear is replaced by a vast, silent, and profound peace. Your hand is empty, but your heart is full. You are no longer being pulled. You are free. You stand up straight, your gaze no longer fixed on the sky, but able to take in the whole world. The misery was never in the kite, it was in the clinging. And now the clinging is gone. And you realize the central truth with the force of a tidal wave. True peace comes not from getting what you want, but from freeing yourself from the need to get it. This is not a theory. You have just experienced it. You have tasted the freedom that lies on the other side of desire. You look up at the sky. It is full of kites, the desires of the world, the ambitions of others, but they no longer have any power over you. They are just colors dancing in the wind, beautiful perhaps, but irrelevant to your own inner state. You have withdrawn your investment of self from them. You have reclaimed your own emotional sovereignty. The relentless hum of dissatisfaction is gone. The frantic energy of the chase has subsided. In its place is a quiet, steady, and profound stillness. You have closed the gap. You have ended the war. You have come home to the present moment, and you have discovered that everything you were ever looking for was already here. This is the end of misery, not by acquiring everything, but by wanting nothing. Not in a nihilistic sense, but in the sense of no longer needing anything external to be complete. Your completeness is inherent. It is your nature. The practice was simply about removing the layers of craving that were obscuring it. This peace is your birthright. It is the natural state of a mind that is not at war with itself. The journey of the Buddha, the journey we have explored, is simply a map back to this natural state. A map that shows you how to put down the weapons of desire and declare peace with reality. You are no longer the kite flyer. You are the sky, vast, open, and free. And the desires are just clouds passing through. They can no longer harm you because you know they are not you. This is the ultimate freedom. This is the peace that desire can never deliver. The story of the Skywatcher is a powerful metaphor, but its true purpose is to illuminate your own life. The journey does not end when the video does. It begins. The field, the kites, the strings, they are all waiting for you in the landscape of your own mind. So let's bring this home. Right now in your life, what is your primary kite? What is the one desire that pulls on you the most? Is it a desire for a different job, for a certain person's affection, for a better financial situation? Just take a moment to identify it. See it clearly in your mind's eye. Feel the tension of its string. You have been conditioned to believe that your only option is to pull harder, to chase that kite with all your might. But we have explored a new possibility, the possibility of loosening your grip. This is not an abstract idea. It is a physical and mental practice you can begin right now. So I will not leave you with a complex set of instructions. The path to peace is one of subtraction, not addition. It is about undoing, not doing. To give you a checklist would be to give you another kite to chase. The true path is simpler and lies in a shift of perspective, which can be guided by a single, gentle question. This question is not a problem to be solved. It is a space to be inhabited. It is a tool to help you access the wisdom of the Skywatcher that already exists within you. It is your personal key to unlocking the grip of desire, one moment at a time. Ask yourself this question whenever you feel the pull of a strong desire, whenever you feel anxious, restless, or dissatisfied. Let it be your anchor in the storm of wanting. Let it be your gentle reminder of the freedom that is always available to you. The question is this: what would it feel like just for this single breath to completely let go of needing this to be different? Not forever, just for right now. What would it feel like to allow reality to be exactly as it is without your resistance? Don't try to answer it with words. Try to feel the answer in your body. Feel the subtle relaxation in your shoulders. Feel the slight loosening in your stomach. Feel the space that opens up in your mind. That feeling, however faint, is the taste of freedom. It is the beginning of peace. This is the practice, to return to that question and to that feeling again and again. Each time you do, you are carving a new riverbed in your mind, a new pathway for your energy to flow, not into the endless desert of craving, but into the fertile ground of the present moment. The misery of desire is a prison whose door is locked from the inside. You have always held the key. The choice is, and always has been, yours. To continue the chase or to stop, breathe, and unlock the door to the peace that is already here. Let your life be a testament not to what you acquired, but to the freedom you cultivated. Let your peace be your offering to the world. You do not need to get rid of the kites. You only need to learn to hold the strings with an open hand and a smiling heart. The chase is over. The journey inward begins. May you walk this path with courage, with patience, and with great kindness for yourself. May you discover the profound and unshakable peace that is your true nature. The great wisdom traditions do not offer easy answers, but they provide powerful tools for transformation. By exploring these ideas, we connect with the deepest parts of ourselves and with the timeless quest for a meaningful life. If this exploration has been meaningful to you, continue the journey.